This passage we've just heard is really one of the wildest happenings in the gospel. Imagine the scene. Jesus comes ashore on the eastern side of the Sea of Galilee. This is actually his first foray into pagan territory. He arrives, and two wildly crazed men who've been terrorizing the entire region accost Jesus. Yet they don't threaten him. Rather, they're terrified of him and his power. They know that he's the Son of God. And he casts out the demons. So the demons enter this herd of swine, and they just imagine how they're just like making all sorts of noises. They're running down the hill, and they throw themselves into the sea. The two tormented men are now free. And Jesus has just taken a first great step to bring peace to the region in a very concrete way. Yet the townspeople, when they arrive, tell him to go away. Why? Because his help had cost them a few pigs. And they were afraid of what would come next and what receiving Christ would mean. What he would ask of them. The message is loud and clear in this chapter of St. Mark's Gospel, from which we hear this text. The chapter begins right after the Sermon on the Mount, when Jesus returns to Capernaum, and then begins healing lepers and many others. He casts out demons with authority. So then, starts to cross this trip to cross the lake. And when they were midway across the lake, there was this huge storm that Jesus calms. Even the wind and the seas obey him. He is who he says he is. The prophet and the lawgiver like Moses, yet so much more. He is the Messiah, the Son of God who comes to heal and to save. He is the King of love. Yet the Gadarenes didn't want him. What about us in our time? Doubters might now say to us, well, if Jesus is God with us now, as you say, and so many Christians have prayed for the COVID pandemic to end, why doesn't he end it? Jesus can and will end the pandemic as he wants to. So far, he hasn't done this by some easy fix. Rather, he wants us to learn something, and through what we have learned and his power, our families and our communities will be healed in the ways that matter most. The very name of Jesus in Hebrew, Yeshua, means God who saves us. He comes to free us from sin. And he means to heal our hearts. He means to heal us inside. And he means to heal our relationships. He means to bring new life and love to marriages and to families. He wants solidarity and justice. Oh, and he especially wants us to find him, living and loving among us. During the pandemic, in spite of this suffering, we hear stories of how many people are rediscovering this in their homes, in their families. Yet I wonder, as the world relaxes restrictions, are we going to return to the political bickering on all sides throughout the world? Are we going to return to violence that leads to destruction and unbridled consumerism? Jesus, Yeshua, God who saves us, indeed wants to act with power in your life, healing your heart, your relationships, your family, our Christian communities, and through us to reach to the ends of the earth. So, as St. John Paul II proclaimed, open wide the doors to Christ. Do not be afraid.